In this video, we're going to talk about the most amazing dream come true, which is importing journal entries into QuickBooks Online. So imagine you have a spreadsheet that looks like this. You've already put together the account names, debit and the credit amount, maybe the memo, name, location, class information, depending on whether you track those things in QuickBooks Online. And essentially, you want this information to come in and be imported into QuickBooks Online. Now, I know many times we have fantasized about copying this information and right-click and clicking paste and hoping that information comes over. No, that's not how it works. However, there are a couple of ways to import this journal entry into QuickBooks Online. Watch. There you go. All that information was imported over. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to do that. Now, this video is going to be kind of long because we're going to walk through a whole bunch of steps because there's a whole bunch of different ways of doing this. The first section of the video, we're going to talk about a brand new built-in journal entry importer in all versions of QuickBooks Online. Super exciting. It's going to come over spring or summer of 2024. My file has been added with it so I can test it. I'm actually doing one of the testers, one of the small percentage, a group of people that can use a new built-in feature. So we're going to cover that in detail. So even if you don't have access to that, I think it's beneficial that you kind of understand the mechanics of it. So when it is released, you can see how it works. So that's going to be the first section of the video. Second section is I'm going to talk about something called Spreadsheet Sync. This is already out. This has already been available for months, probably years at this point. And that's only available for QuickBooks Online Advanced. So if you have the advanced version of QuickBooks Online, you'll be able to do the import via Spreadsheet Sync that I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you don't have QuickBooks Online Advanced and you don't have the new built-in journal entry importer feature, I'm going to show you how to use a third-party app, one that's called RightTool, to import the stuff from your spreadsheet into QuickBooks Online. So let's get right to it. Okay, let's start with the built-in journal entry tool. We're going to click on the gear menu on the top right, and then go down to where it says Import Data. Inside Import Data, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes. Again, as I mentioned earlier, only a small group of people as of the date of this video have access to this new journal entry feature. So this is going to be released through spring and summer of 2024. So if you go into your import data screen and you don't see that, just be patient. You should be seeing that in the next couple of weeks, months, probably by the middle of 2024. Everybody should have access to this. So for now, check it out, learn from it, and then we're going to cover all the other ways to import journal entries into QuickBooks Online. So I'm going to click on Journal Entries. And then in here, the very first thing you see is Download Import Guide. I like this because it's a really cool cheat sheet. So you can print this, you can save it on your computer. Essentially, it kind of just walks you through, look, where do you want to import the data that you have in your spreadsheet? And it gives you a quick cheat sheet in terms of what's the name of every one of these fields. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to map your current spreadsheet to those fields, and then you know exactly where they're supposed to go. So I love this cheat sheet. I think they did an awesome job by giving us that firsthand. Now you could skip the template and you can go straight to browsing your CSV file and importing it in here. However, I like starting with a template because it's actually the best way to understand how this works. So when I click on Download Sample CSV, and we're going to go ahead and open that sample. Let me bring that over from my other screen. I'm going to zoom this in so it's a little bit easier to read. Okay, there we go. And now there's a couple of instructions here in the bottom of the spreadsheet. I'm going to delete these because I actually don't need any of these. And we're just going to work off the main fields that we're seeing here. Now let's make the font a little bit bigger. That should make it a lot easier for everybody to read, to follow along. So here we go. We got the first column is the journal entry number. That's essentially going to go into the number field, right? It shows it right here. So journal entry number right there. So that's going to go right there and then, right? So that's what that cheat sheet is for, to kind of walk you through, how all these things are going to be used. So let's go back into the spreadsheet. So that's my journal entry number. Now journal date, notice that there's blanks. So essentially these two that say journal entry number 1, those are going to be the same journal entry. And these two are going to be a different journal entry. So as long as these things here don't change, the whole thing is one big journal entry. every time there's a change to the journal entry number, it's going to be a separate journal entry. Then you're going to see debits and credits here. You got the account name, we got description, we got name, currency, location, and class. Okay, so let's delete that. We'll delete all this here. We don't need that. And then we're going to go ahead and open my own spreadsheet. Let's bring that over. And essentially what I want to do is I want to port all this data over to match what the template is asking me to have. So for example, on the journal entry number, I'm just going to give this a number. I'm going to give it, let's say today's date, so 03/19/24-01 or something like that. So that's what we're going to make the journal entry number. And what we're going to do is basically we're going to copy and paste this number down. And as long as, again, it's the same number brought to each line, QuickBooks knows that this is all supposed to be the exact same journal entry. For the journal entry date, it's going to be 3/19/2024. And I'm just going to copy that and paste it down. Again, we're going to repeat this throughout. You technically don't need to. And actually, we're going to test that out. If it bounces, then we can delete those and just leave the one in the top. That could be a possibility. I'm actually using this for the very first time ever as well. So let me bring in the account, credit, debit, memo. I'm just going to bring those here. So just to kind of like control the data that comes over a little bit. So let's bring that over, copy that, and then paste this over here. Let's click on paste. Okay, beautiful. So I got my account name, debits, credits, description. Notice that we have a name column, currency, location, class. That's currently 100% blank. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring these two fields down and bring the data all the way down here. That way, QuickBooks is going to know this is all one big journal entry with 224 lines. Okay, there we go. That's good. So now we have name, currency, location, class. So for currency, I'm just gonna put here USD, and I'm gonna click and drag that down. Okay, so that way it's USD throughout, and it looks like, okay, yep, it's all the way down. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure it was all the way down. Then for location, do I have anything on location on my spreadsheet? I'm not sure if I do. I'm just gonna copy location and class all the way down here. So if I have any locations and classes, I will copy that over. I think I only have classes on this one. Let's click and drag that down one more time. Let's do copy and then bring this over and paste. Yeah, location was blank, but there was some classes. Okay, there we go. The different font sizes don't matter. I mean, if this drives you crazy, which I know it drives me crazy, you can make them all the same font size if you want to. I mean, it just makes it easier for you to understand. But that's essentially us retrofitting what my original spreadsheet is with what the template that QuickBooks gives me. So now I can file, save this as a CSV. It needs to be a CSV. It won't import Excel, at least not yet. And we'll bring that in and we'll just put it in the desktop and let's call it Journal 1 or something like that. Okay, so we'll save that and we can exit out of that, exit out of this. And now we're back into our import screen. Now I can click on Browse. And then I can select my journal file that I selected there. Then I'm going to click on next. Then it's going to ask me to do the mapping. Now, because I used the actual sample that it gave me, then the mapping is all going to happen automatically. If I hadn't used the sample, then I would have to go in here and do the mapping one by one. Also notice that there's some that have asterisks. These are essentially the ones that are required. So you need to have a journal entry number. You need a date, you need the account name, debits and credits, name, description, location, all that stuff, and class, and the memo at the bottom. All that stuff is optional. Then we have a quick option here to put our date formatting. So mine is set up as month, day, year. So that's good. And then I'm going to scroll down, click on next. And then it says one journal entry will be imported. Click on complete import. And then it goes through the process. It will take seconds, and then it'll finish this up, and that's it. Now keep in mind that was a single journal entry that was pretty long, not a whole bunch of journal entries. We're going to do a quick example of that next. Okay, it says 1 out of 1 journal entry added. Then we click OK, and now we can go look at that journal entry. Click here on the zoom button or the recent transactions. Click on this journal entry that's right there. And there we go. Big journal entry, whole bunch of lines, 224 lines imported 100% with the new built-in feature. Okay, let me X out of that. Now let's talk about importing a whole bunch of journal entries at the same time. Maybe not one big one, but a whole bunch of small ones. Okay, so let's say I have a spreadsheet that looks like this. Notice that we have the same number on these two transactions. Those two are the same journal entry. And then we have these three transactions with the same number. And notice that it is the actual entry number that differentiates each one. So there's a total of 4 journal entries in this one spreadsheet here. So let's load that spreadsheet. Let's go into the gear menu again, go to import data, and then go into journal entries. And then we're going to go to browse, select that file that we have in our computer, go to next, and then we have to do the mapping. Remember, before we used a template, that's why it recognized all of the names easily. Now we have to make sure that we do the mapping. So this journal number is now called entry number in my spreadsheet. So I have to select here entry number. And then for date, I'll select date. So sometimes it does a pretty good job at automatically detecting these things, but then you have to do the rest and make sure everything is mapped the way it's supposed to, right? So notice that I'm going through and making sure that I'm mapping the things correctly. So in this case, class is called division or whatever, right? So you have to make sure that you understand what the headings on your spreadsheet mean so you can then translate them to whatever it's supposed to mean inside QuickBooks. So let's go to next. Then I'll say 4 journal entries will be imported. Click on complete import. Give it a few seconds. And boom, there we go. 4 journal entries added. If I click on this little link, it will take me to my recent transactions. So I'm able to see all of my 4 journal entries in here. So I can click on each one. Click on the first one. And there's one of the journal entries. Look at my recent transactions, pull up the other one. There's the other journal entry. Click on the next one. There's my other journal entry and my 4th one. So it's a pretty awesome feature, this new thing that they're building to import with this built-in tool. Okay, let's talk about now, if you don't have this built-in tool, what are the other options you have? Okay, the next tool is called Spreadsheet Sync, and it's only available in QuickBooks Online Advanced. So when I click on the gear menu, I'm going to click right there where it says Spreadsheet Sync. That's going to take me to this little pop-up that says combine the power of Microsoft Excel and QuickBooks. Click on Let's Go. It's going to open a new spreadsheet. And right here it says launch the add-in. So you have to install Spreadsheet Sync. You're going to have to follow all the steps step by step. But right there you see an icon that says Spreadsheet Sync. It's right there. It's fully installed into my Excel. So once it's installed, you should be able to open that icon, and then the login page for QuickBooks Online will show up. So then you sign in. So you have to sign in to your QuickBooks Online one more time and choose the QuickBooks file that you want to work on. So let me select my firm and then my client. I happen to have multiple clients here in QuickBooks Online. So I have to log into this specific one. And I'm going to go here where it says add edit data. Add edit data. So I click on that. I'm going to select my company file that I want to add edit data into. And then it tells me select record type. So which template you want to add data into. We're going to go down and select our journal entry. So there's a specific template just for journal entries. And then we're going to click on add new records into QuickBooks. You can click on edit if you kind of want to see what that looks like. That's useful too. But I'm just going to go to add new records and click on load template. Okay, so let me open this up. Let's make this a little bit zoomed in so it's easier to see for the video. And then here's our columns. We got post, journal entry number, entry date, journal description, account, customer, vendor, employee, location, class, tax rate. So you have a whole bunch of columns here. Okay, so let's open up that other spreadsheet that I have. Here's my other spreadsheet. And essentially, let me zoom this in. And essentially, I want to have the same piece of information posted in here. Now, I'm going to change the date on these just to make it easier to identify. So we'll change this from 3/19/20 24 to 3/20, 24. So just changing the date, that way all of these, so just changing the date so all of these get replaced. Okay, I'm gonna change the journal entry numbers here so we can identify them a lot easier. So I'm just gonna do a find and replace. And we'll replace this with Spreadsheet Sync HG or something like that, okay? So I basically changed the lettering just so when I import it, it's a lot easier to identify which, that I'm looking at the new journal entry, not the old one, basically. That's what we're gonna be doing here. So let's copy these journal entry numbers and these entry dates, because these all happen to be all next to each other. So we'll bring and paste this into Spreadsheet Sync. There we go. I'll paste it in there. Then we have journal description. It says one narration per MG is enough. So I assume that's the memo that goes all the way down. What I need is the line item description, which I don't see here. So I'm going to assume that this is the line item. Even though it says one narration, I'm going to assume that's the line item. So we'll bring that memo in here. Click on copy. Come back in here, paste. Okay. Then we have our accounts. Let's copy that over. And let's paste. Then I happen not to have anything under customer name on these, but if I happen to have something, I would put that in there. And then we have our classes here. So let's copy that, come down and paste the classes. Perfect. So as long as everything matches, we should be good. And now we have our credits and debits, which are over here in my original spreadsheet. Copy that and then paste these in here. Perfect. Okay. So that should be us importing everything via Spreadsheet Sync. Here it says post. I just have to make sure that it says yes and bring the yes through every single line. Whoops, that's too much. Let's just click and drag. That would be easier. So as long as these all say post, when I click on sync to import, those will import over. But just for the heck of it, I'm gonna add some customer names here. And here's a drop-down menu with all my customer names from QuickBooks. So that's actually pretty cool. You have this in Spreadsheet Sync. You don't have this in any other tool, where it actually brings over your original customer list and your original vendor list and all that stuff, so you can bring that information over. So that's pretty neat. Okay. Then once I have my journal entry ready to go, I'm gonna click here. It says Sync to QuickBooks. Click on that. Click on Sync. That's gonna take only a few seconds. It says Sync has been completed. I can click on where it says View Sync Details and kind of see all the lines that were imported. And I can click on any of these and go straight into QuickBooks and see that journal entry that was just imported via Spreadsheet Sync. Or I can click on my recent transactions here, click on any of the journal entries, or I can click on the search button right there on the home page and then click on any of these 4 journal entries that I just imported. And we can see exactly how those journal entries got imported using Spreadsheet Sync. Now let's talk about how to import journal entries using RightTool. So RightTool is an extension browser that you install or add on to your browser, to either Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, or any Chromium-based browser. And you see it right there on the right-hand side. It says RightTool. It's blue. And then once you have it installed and you're in the Pro version, on the paid version, there's a free version as well. You click on the settings button, and then you're gonna go into where it says Batch Pro, and we're gonna turn on this one feature called Copy Excel to Transactions. Okay, so we're gonna turn on Copy Excel to Transactions, and there's a whole bunch. If you actually go through and look at RightTool, has a whole bunch of things that enhances your experience and your productivity in QuickBooks Online. I'm only showing you one of them. So once I turn that on and I go open a new journal entry, so let's go open a journal entry. You see this little button on the top of the journal entry, which is for you to sort of paste from Excel. So this is kind of almost like a copy and paste type of functionality. So for some context, let's bring the spreadsheet over. And I already have it in Excel. So there's all my account names There's my debit, my credit, my memo, my customer name, my location, and my class. And what I really kind of want is to mimic the same exact display that I see. So if account is my first column, make sure your spreadsheet is the same thing: debit, credit, memo or description, customer, in this case, location or class. These are all essentially in the same exact order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little button there. It's going to give me a pop-up after it goes through and checks all the list that you have. It's going to give you this pop-up that says paste into journal. And essentially what we're doing is we're going to grab this spreadsheet and we're going to copy the contents from it. So we just copy the contents from it, click on copy. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paste it in here, this little box here. We're going to right click and paste. And essentially what it does, it gives you a quick preview saying, okay, I recognize what came from your clipboard, what you copy and pasted from your spreadsheet. Here's a layout of what everything is set up. If some of these vendor names are spelled incorrectly, you're going to get a red X there that says, hey, this is not going to import because this is not part of what's in your QuickBooks database. So that's what this information was. That's what the colors are for, to let you know if there's something that's just not going to import because there's an error in your account or something like that. And then you can click there where it says no match, and it'll take you straight into the ones that have errors. And then you can make a correction there if you want to on the spot. Now, if something is brought in and that account could be more than one thing, that could happen sometimes where maybe it just says the word employee, but there's a whole bunch of accounts with the word employee. Yellow means, hey, it could be one of many. And then you can pick, click on the one that's supposed to be the right one from the list and click on that, and you can make sort of that correction on the fly. So once everything is green and everything is basically clear to go, you click on paste into QuickBooks and it brings all the information into a journal entry for you. And then at that point, you pick a journal entry date and number. Let's just call this HG1 or something like that. And then click on save. And then it's basically all happening right in front of you. So you're almost like doing this copy and paste style of work into it. Now, RightTool has a whole bunch of other features. We can bulk enter from spreadsheets. We can bulk enter checks, deposits, even journal entries. And we also have a new feature called Reallocate that allows you to take a profit and loss by class or by location and reallocate all the amounts that are sitting in a non-specified class or location, or maybe a specific admin or overhead type of class or location, and create the journal entry for you so you can instantly make adjustments to your classes or locations for your monthly, quarterly, or annual profit and loss reports. So RightTool is really, really powerful. I'm going to post in the description, I'm going to put a link to a video that explains the reallocation tool specifically, for the sake of not trying to make this video so long. So hopefully this is helpful for you. Go in the comments below and tell me if any of these things worked for you. If you have the new journal entry feature built into QuickBooks Online, if you don't see it yet, let us know. We want to know when that becomes available for general availability. And also if Spreadsheet Sync is working for you or RightTool, we'd love to know in the comments as well. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.